Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be with you again for this latest episode of Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts. My guest tonight is Judi Lynch, and she and I would like for you to join with us in aligning with the energies of co-creation so that this show gives you the best information to your highest good and best outcome. Julie, welcome. It's so nice to have you on the show.
Hi, Chessie. Hi. This is Judi Lynch.
I'm sorry, I did say Julie, didn't I? Excuse me.
Yes, you did.
Well, I have a friend named Judi Lynch, so that's
well, there
what
you
that's
go.
all about.
There you go. And Julie is a nice name too. I don't mind
She's
that.
a nice person. For those of you who don't know Judi Lynch, she's an internationally known psychic medium, healing energy channel, spiritual counselor, teacher, and author. Since 2007, Judy has worked with countless clients in the United States and around the world. A featured guest and host on radio, she's presented workshops on psychic development and energy healing. She's also currently working with others individually to heighten their abilities through the study of spiritual consciousness, vibrational energy channeling, ascension awareness, and meditation. Judy is the president of the Crystal Healing Foundation, Incorporated, a nonprofit dedicated to healing and ascension awareness. She's a featured columnist for Om Times Magazine since their beginning in 2009. Receiving names, life themes, colors, future options, health information, conversations, and channel messages from loved ones, Judy communicates directly with spirit guides to assist others in their personal connections for optimum healing. She also facilitates in-person and distant healing light energy meditation sessions to help in healing physical, emotional, and spiritual challenges. Spiritual empowerment and connection are the focus of her work. Her book, Friends with Lights, is currently a 5-star favorite on Amazon, and it tells the story of a miraculous awakening and ability. A follow-up book entitled Conscious Ascension is now available online. Judy's currently developing a comprehensive metaphysical program for the mind, body, and soul, and teaching conscious ascension at retreats in the Southeast. How did you get started in doing all of this, Judy? It sounds absolutely fascinating.
Well, that's a really, really great question, and I'll try to sum it up as quickly as I can. I met a woman in 2006 who gave me the confidence that I had been a psychic all my life. That energy that I felt was a good thing. It was wonderful. And once she said that to me, there was a light that just came on. I went home and I started listening and meditating and just connecting and doing DNA activation. And I had been in pain and from a car accident. And I felt everything change inside. And I was healing, and then I started connecting, and I started getting messages, and I started delivering those messages to people, and they started validating them immediately.
Wow.
So everything changed. And 2 years before that, I had been working as a graphic designer at the microgravity department for NASA at the Marshall Space Flight Center. So that was, it was something that I knew part of me, but I really didn't know how to tap back into it like I did when I was a child.
Mm-hmm. I think we all have that challenge to recoup that childlike connection that we had, that some of us recognized and some of us did not.
Absolutely.
But to do it as an adult, it's a little more challenging, yeah?
Oh, well, yes. After you've lived a life and a few things have happened, you get into society, you have to make a living, you get so far away from it until something pulls you back, and it could be anything in your life that shocks you into saying, what am I doing here? It could be a number of things. It could be losing someone, and I lost my dad right after I moved south. So I always knew these things, but not always why I was doing them. Mm-hmm. I knew I had to move south to be with him, because I knew he wasn't going to be in this form on Earth for much longer. But I didn't know all the details. So when I started tapping back in again, it was really so comforting and wonderful to be able to hear from the other side and help other people do that.
Right. Well, I could tell my students and clients, you don't know until you know, you know?
Exactly.
The funny thing of it is, though, we do know. We just have to remember. What's the saying? All you have to do is remember what your soul has forgotten.
Exactly. And everybody has a different way of that awakening in them, and there's no judgment in that. It's not a race. It's coming to us as we need it, as we grow, as our soul grows, we learn.
Well, that's the way it should be. I mean, what's good for one isn't necessarily the way it goes for another, so I get that.
Exactly.
And that's all okay.
It really is.
I have a lot of clients tell me, well, so-and-so can do this, that, and the other, and this person over here can do something else, and I can't do that. And I tell them, well, that's okay. You're not supposed to do that. I can remember when I first got started in all of this, I asked guidance. I said, well, I know I can be invisible, I can fly, I can do all this stuff if I really, really want to. So why can't I? And their response was, why do you need to?
Oh, you need to, yeah.
Well, I think you need to believe, but you don't necessarily need to do everything, yeah?
Yeah. For some of us, you need to, Mm-hmm. You just need to.
So
and
after
just
you start,
for some, and you're right, for some, just knowing that that's there available, and it's true, and it's real, and they have validation, that's all they need.
Well, after you started waking up, what was the first thing you did? Do you recall?
Well, I started sharing it with people right away because I wanted them to feel that energy and that love, and I wanted to deliver messages, and it was really amazing. And then I contacted the woman in Nashville, and then I started doing workshops immediately. I went to the Unity Church and started doing workshops and meeting people. Wow. And working with people I had never seen or met before, and testing myself beyond friends and family to see if I could read for them, if I could hear their guides coming in, and I could.
Wow.
So after that, well, yeah, that was it. And, we started the foundation because we had a building that we wanted to have people gather, and we did that for about 3 years, and that was great, too, for a while. And then I started branching out on the Internet and connecting with more people all around the world, and through the magazine. Mm-hmm. And through writing. And I think the writing was one of the main reasons, I knew that I could communicate this after validating for myself that this was what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And then I had to write about it so that I could empower other people. You can do this. You can heal. And you can connect with your guides. And no matter what you do in life, whether you're an artist, you're going to create. And what better way to create than to be able to tap into your spiritual self, your past self, and heaven. So when someone is able to do that for the first time and you see their eyes light up and they feel that energy come in and they feel that love, there's nothing like seeing that come into a person, or they get validation that their loved one is right there with them. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like that.
I love that validation thing. That's awesome.
It's amazing to say, well, who is so-and-so? I've looked at somebody and I said, well, who is Robert, or who is Jim? And to see the look on their face, well, how can you hear them? It's like, what? And to talk to somebody on the phone who is from another country, and you don't speak that country's language, and you're writing their grandfather's name in their native language, and you say, who is this? And you spell out the name, and they say, that's my grandfather.
Okay.
And I did that the other day. And I thought, my God, how could you not want to give somebody that?
Really. I think if there are messages that need to come through from the other side, we definitely need people who can give us those messages, because I have been made aware that our loved ones on the other side are forever trying to contact us about first one thing and then another. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. It really is. And when they tune into that and start hearing that intuition and the love that's coming in, more and more will want to have that feeling of, everything's all right. That peace, that calm, the energy that it creates.
That everything is all right thing is very powerful. And I think we all need it, especially now.
We do. I do. We all do. Everybody I read for, I know they do. Is everything going to be okay? Yeah. After what I've seen and what I've been through myself, it has to be.
I'm wondering, just from your perspective, because of all the insecurity that's bouncing around out there these days, when we get caught up in that, I'm going to call it a fear cycle, that kind of slows everything down for us personally, does it not?
It really does, and it blocks all the light that's coming into you, because the fear will play like a loop over in your mind until you stop the tape and replace those thoughts with positivity and energy and light. Get outside if you have to. Get in the forest, but find what recharges your light and stop those thoughts. And you know who's good for talking, like Wayne Dyer is good for explaining how to do that, too.
He really is. I
love Wayne Dyer.
Do you have any tips for our listeners as to how they can stop that cycle? As long as I've been doing this, I find myself getting into I call it a grinding loop. Something annoys me.
Yes.
And I can't seem to get it out of my head. And some help in that direction would be very nice.
Well, I remember when I first started doing this, and I was doing healing sessions, and I still do, of course, channeling energy. And what I tell people is, when you are meditating and visualizing, imagine that light just pouring into your crown chakra and just right into your third eye and all the way down, and keep on visualizing. And I had somebody tell me one time that she visualized her negative thoughts and clearing her sinuses. And when we were done with that, she opened her eyes, and I heard from her later, and she said, my thoughts don't get stuck in a loop anymore. It's a miracle. And I can breathe, she said. So it's a matter, and that's how I started that being stuck in the loop. That's how she described it. She said, that's my fear coming in, Judy, and now I learned how to I visualized just stopping the tape. And I never forgot that, and then I read it in another book, and I said, that's it. And it's like she let the energy in, and she saw it visually just stop and replace it with light. And then she said, I just saw all these beautiful visions. It was like I was on the other side, and everything was very vivid. And I said, what are you worried about? Everything's all right. And I know it may sound simple, but when you're meditating and you can feel that validation come in, that energy come in, and you feel so much better, then you look around and you go, none of the things I was worried about are really going to happen. Most of it's ridiculous.
It kind of reminds me about that trip to the dentist.
Yes,
you make
exactly.
the appointment, and immediately you feel yourself tense up. Oh, gosh, I got to hear the drill. They're going to pound on my teeth. Yeah. I've got to stick its fingers in my mouth.
And then you walk out and you're laughing. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that wasn't so bad.
That's exactly it. And it's you psych yourself out to believe ridiculous things that you even carry with you from your childhood, or even maybe a past life memory.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even make any sense. You
No,
know, and
sometimes they don't. And if we can not have to figure it out and just can let it go, that'd be great. Figuring it out sometimes helps let it go. So it works all ways.
And sometimes knowing where it came from, the source of it, is also very powerful, because I've had people say, I had this nightmare, Judy. What was that? And I said, were you watching television? Or did you watch a scary movie? And they'll go, oh, my gosh, I feel so silly. And right before you go to sleep, it's just not that's all it was.
I just got a flash as you were saying that. I had a dream last night. I don't usually hang on to them, but this one kind of unsettled me. And when you were talking just now, it all came pouring back, so maybe I'm supposed to tell you about it. I was walking down actually I was riding a bicycle down a path in the woods in the snow, and I kept passing people with guns running in the opposite direction, and littered on the side of this path were dead deer.
Wow.
And I was so upset over the waste of these deer lives, and wondering what the people were running from. And then all of a sudden, a sudden noise woke me, and I couldn't get back to finish the rest of it because I wanted to know what was going on. And I had forgotten about it until just now. So now I'm wondering again.
That's very interesting, because your heart reaches out for the deer. And in your dream, this is like something that you processed that maybe you saw a long time ago or heard about. Or maybe you saw a deer on the side of the road and thought about this. But it could have been a processed dream. And did you ever see what or who was chasing the people with the guns?
No, I couldn't go back to sleep
because
and pick it back up. No.
It could have been something very huge after them, chasing them away.
They did look afraid. I wasn't afraid.
And telling them, no, you shouldn't have been, because
I wasn't.
What was chasing them away was with you. And it was energy, and it was telling them they were not welcome in the woods anymore. They had spoiled the woods, and they were not welcome.
And most of the deer were white, actually, now that I think about it a little deeper.
They had taken something that was not belonging to them. So this is like a process dream. This is almost something that you have experienced, that you're working out in your mind, that hurt you, or that you saw where innocence was hurt. You understand?
Yes, I do.
And you prayed for the energy to get them out right now, whatever you have to do. Make them leave them alone.
Well, yay me. Run away.
And that's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, because you were creating the situations and the energy that it wouldn't be allowed to be done anymore.
Well, good.
So, well, yeah.
I feel better about the dream now, because it was rather disturbing.
It can be, and if you go back and look at, they were being chased out. So they weren't winning. And that's to let you know. Well, that's to let you know that your good heart and your good soul, there isn't anything you can accomplish with the energy that surrounds you, Chessie, with all the people you've had around you and all the people that you've helped. You have such a big heart, and it's no wonder you would have a dream like that. So let that go, release that, because you know what? The karma caught up with the hunters, I believe. Just because you didn't get to finish it, I'll finish it for you. Karma went over, and it's all okay. They were made to see what they did and what they spoiled and how they wasted and hurt. And those beings brought back into life are all fine. And those who were meant to learn a lesson are always given choices for their future.
It's funny you should say that. I did a channeling for the Get on the Life Energy Grid program. This is a Tuesday that we're recording this, listeners. so that's the day that I channel for the Get on the Life Energy Good program, and it was about that very thing that you were just talking about.
Wow.
You'll have to look it up on Facebook.
Certainly will. That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
I love it when things like that come together, when I channel something to give out to the people, or I mention it in the radio show and it comes back later, but just that synchronicity that seems to occur more and more and more, I find very validating, very fulfilling, and extremely cool.
That is just wonderful. I love it. I just love it. It's going to happen more and more.
You used the term, let me find it, Ascension awareness. Can you talk about that for a while? Because I'm not exactly sure I know what that means. I think I do, but...
Well, the work that I do here, and I'm in Alabama, so I'm in the Deep South. And what I mean by that is I hear from so many people who are not so much into religion as they were at one time, or the churches that they were brought up in, or the beliefs that their parents or their grandparents were brought into. And they are awakening into these new energies and they're having experiences, and they're seeing things, and they're wanting to be a part of that, and they're not sure what's going on. So they're reading books, they're seeking out people that they can trust. They don't think the way every part of the country really is different in how they come into things, how they evolve into things. The energy here in the South, it's just beautiful. It's wonderful energy. And there are such beautiful people here. I talk to them every week, and they come and see me, and they say, I want to be a part of God, and I want to be a part of all of this, and I want to do good. But I don't believe the way I used to be. I believe differently now, and how do I incorporate that into my life now spiritually? I want to be spiritual, but I don't want to necessarily be religious, so we talk about all of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you kind of have to go through that to grow, don't you? You have to change your perceptions and your attitudes, and revisit the mores and all that stuff that you were brought up with, and you have to kind of look at those and say, okay, what's different here?
There's a lot involved. Even the way they eat, even watching television, all of that. We talk about all of that and how they have changed, and that's not a part of them anymore. And they're out in the nature, and they're taking walks, and they're feeling love, they're feeling energy. And some people are seeing auras, and they're, what's going on? So that's and they want to hear from their loved ones. And they want to know who their spirit guides are. They've read books, and they think, yes, I've got help from heaven. Why wouldn't I? Look what I've been through. And they talk about Jesus. They talk about ascended masters, and depending on their background and their religions, I talk to people from all different religions. I've had people here that were born in India, just all different religions, about any I can think of, and they all have one thing in common. They're amazing in the love they have and how they want to live their lives on the earth and how they want to make a difference. Mm-hmm. So that really does help. Yes.
I was just going to say, I have discovered that love thread goes through everything. And my longtime listeners have heard me say this time and time again. I was meditating one day, and I asked my guide, I said, well, what is it we need to do to make things better here on this level? And they said, love one another.
Exactly. Help each other, connect to this.
Forgive and love one another.
And be grateful for everything you have, and keep on being grateful. And every day you get up, say, my God, here we are. Look at this planet. What are we doing? If we're not here for a reason. And so many people are realizing that now, and they're not judging each other anymore. They don't want to do that anymore. They don't like the dogma anymore.
No, my karma ran over my dogma years ago.
Amen. Amen. It's true. And I did not grow up in the South. My parents did, but I grew up outside Chicago. And so I have a different perspective on life than my parents and my grandparents. But I did end up back here because there were people here that I loved, and I wanted to be near them while they were still here. And I'm so glad I did, because my whole life changed when I got back in the forest energy and outside and connecting again. And that's a part of it for me.
I think that's a part of it for anybody who's on this path of awakening and searching. That nature connection is vital on so many different levels. Somebody posted a meme on Facebook one day that said, connect to nature. It's the best Wi-Fi connection out there.
It's true. It really
is. And it is true.
And I'm still feeling all the energy of North Carolina right now. I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm still feeling all of that love and energy that we created at that retreat, and sharing all of what we're talking about now. You know, we had people there from everywhere who feel the same exact way. And we were all different backgrounds, different ages, everything. And it was absolutely amazing. And when you think of that on a bigger...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, of course, when you think of that on a bigger scale and then a world scale, it's just incredible, the energy it creates in an etheric real around the earth.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I have done in the past and will probably do again in the future is a global healing,
global
energy
healing,
suite
exactly,
all the way around the world. And
that's what exactly. I kept seeing that, and I didn't know how to describe it. I guess maybe I was seeing what you were exactly global.
Yeah, you probably were. The first time I was involved in one of those, I didn't do it myself, but I joined another group that was doing it. And what they did was they started at a certain time, and then each time zone picked it up at that time all the way around the world. And when it was time for my time zone to grab it, I turned everything off, sat down, and shot healing light up out of my sixth chakra out into the cosmos. And what's really funny about it, something happened I didn't expect. I actually felt that grabbed onto by the sweep of energy going around the planet, and it nearly pulled me out of my chair.
Oh, yeah, it will.
But it was wonderful, and it was so powerful.
It is. It's incredible. And there's nothing like feeling that and saying, wow, now I understand.
Yeah. And there is an understanding that you can't really put words to when you go through something like that. I tell guidance all the time, I need clumsy human words to explain this, and they just laugh at me.
Yeah, I mean, even using the word bliss is not enough. It's not enough. Radiant bliss is not enough. You'd have to keep adding words. We'd be here all day adding words.
Well, that's why my guidance calls them clumsy human words, because I have found that guidance speaks through feelings more than anything. And then you try to translate that into speech, and it just falls so short.
I agree with you. And even as a writer, I agree with you. It's true.
Well, see, I'm a writer, too. I write music,
I know.
and I've got a book out, and I'm writing some others. And I love words. They're fun to play with and manipulate and make up new words that make absolutely no sense and make other people look at me funny. But when you're trying to take that that intense feeling of a spiritual connection and try to put it into words, it just doesn't work.
I know. It's true.
Well, we were talking about wait a minute, where's my phrase? Here it is, Ascension awareness. What can you tell us about Ascension? I'm going to say symptoms because that's what everybody calls them. I have discovered through my own thing here that once I get used to some, they change on me, and I have to get used to them all over again. Do you know anything about that?
Well, it seems like I went through so many of these a long time ago now that I'm trying to remember exactly by the people that I talk to presently and what they're going through, and then what I've read. Wow, there can be 200 of these that are very common with certain people. And, of course, there can be, it seems like people are waking up at a certain time and their sleep patterns are totally changing. Mm-hmm. Their cravings for food. Yes, absolutely, and it's irritating. And so don't listen to some doctor that says you must sleep this amount of time don't listen to that. Listen to your body, okay? And try to go intuitively by making sure if you don't feel you're getting enough sleep during the night, then try to recharge yourself during the day and take some rest and do a recharge.
Go ahead.
As much as you can, but also what happens is, and I imagine maybe this might have happened to you, but the things that you eat change.
Oh, absolutely.
The things, it's totally. You see things, you hear things, and then you keep putting. Okay, I want to change this. I don't need to be eating this. I'm going to replace it with this. It's a process when you're tapped in intuitively, and especially if you're a healer, or you're a medium, you're a psychic, and you're helping others, and you're constantly tapping in and you're giving them advice, well, be ready to follow it because, you're going to be getting more maybe than other people get if they're not tapped into that source more, saying, your body's not going to react well to that. Our body chemistry is all different. Mm-hmm. So that's why all the Ascension symptoms are not the same either. So but some things are very, very common. Our ears ringing is very common, and changing from ear to ear where it isn't a health issue, and they know it isn't a health issue. It has something to do with a frequency that's coming in, because at the same time you can feel energy around you. There's a lot of people who are having dreams and experiences, and they're knowing things are going to happen, and then they do about a week later. I've heard a lot of premonitions coming in for people who say, well, I used to have that happen when I was a child, but it's happening again. Uh-huh. And that's another one. So physically, the sleep patterns, the ringing, the food cravings changing, the wanting to take better care of yourself, wanting and needing more water, more liquids, more recharging, and walking away from situations and people that they never would have done before. Mm-hmm. Just saying, I'm done with this.
I have found my tolerance of, I don't want to say stupidity, but drama. And
drama.
Who don't want to let go of that, my tolerance for that is just nil. I have none anymore. And I try to let them be what they are, where they are, and let them do their thing. But it doesn't need to involve me. What's my favorite saying, and my longtime listeners are already saying it, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Exactly. And sometimes I quote the Mary J. Blige song, No More Drama in my life.
Yeah.
I'm moving on. Bye-bye.
You were talking about sleep patterns. In my research, when my sleep patterns started to change and my husband's started to change, he and I started looking into that. And there used to be something back in our agrarian past called second sleep, and everybody did it. You'd go to sleep when the sun set, and you'd wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and you'd stay up for a couple hours, and you'd go back to bed. And that's kind of where I am right now. And once I realized that it was a natural thing for humans to do. And instead of that, you have to sleep 8 hours and you can't move or anything.
Chessie, I read that article. And I've told clients about this. You just read my mind. I was going to talk about it. You just read my mind.
Well, we must be tapped in and tuned in. And you're talking about the food changes. What I have discovered is I can just look at something or smell it now and know it's not going to work with me.
Exactly. That's it.
And it might be something that I've eaten all my life.
Exactly.
And I just, don't want it.
You'll be led to the things that will help your body chemistry naturally. So listen to that. Even if it's something you never tried before and you hear it's very healthy and you're being led to that, or you keep seeing an article about it, then there's your sign, that your chemistry changes, and intuitively your body will tell you what it needs.
Well, I have
and
read
that second sleep, same thing. Yeah. The second sleep is something that works for a lot of people who want their sleep, but they just aren't able to do it all at once. They're still getting their sleep, they're getting their rest, and they're recharging. And I also recommend that, the meditation is good to recharge your energy.
Oh, absolutely.
Let some light, get outside, and recharge it.
I have a place in my front yard between 2 crepe myrtle trees, and then my husband has let the branches grow close together and a little bit lower than he usually would, so that I can sit under there with my bare feet on the ground and touch each tree and meditate there, and it's just absolutely wonderful.
That's it. That's absolutely it. It makes such a big difference. Oh, me too.
I have read a lot and heard a lot about our DNA changing. Do you have any insights about that?
Yes. Well, that's part of the ascension process. As human beings, we are ascending into light. We're ascending into crystal and then into light. And that's part of the ascension process. Our DNA has to change. And as our brains catch up to all of this, as we tap into the higher frequencies, we have the ability to do that right now. And so when I say that I was listening to an Ascension CD, it was a DNA activation. And when I started feeling those changes, when I asked for healing for my neck, which had been injured, I immediately felt my ability had changed something in my connection as far as, my DNA, that I don't have to accept any DNA I might have been given or accept any kind of negativity or illness or any affliction that they say runs in someone's DNA, that if you evolve into being able to tap into energy that surrounds your etheric body through your thoughts, what you eat, what you drink, your environment, all of that changes your very DNA and the very pattern of life, the flower of life. And that's exactly what I learned by reading about the spiritual consciousness and the eventual evolution of the spiritual consciousness into light. So that all makes sense to me. And since that made sense to me, it started activating something inside of me, and I started channeling energy. So when I would have someone sit down and say, do you have an injury that you need to heal? Don't accept that. Send the energy to it. They could actually feel that bone chip coming out. One woman was suffering from headaches and could actually feel like she was having surgery, and she said she even smelled alcohol, like they were performing surgery, and she had never been the same since. Like her very DNA had said, no, you don't have to accept this because someone in your family had this. Don't accept this. And it just completely changed that blood vessel they were working on. And I know that has to do with our thought patterns. Our DNA is all connected. Now, I'm not a scientist by any means. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you how physically that all connects, but I know it does.
Well, as I was doing research for my program, Evolution of Self, Journey into Body, Mind, Spirit Balance, I discovered that your thoughts create your body chemistry.
Yes, exactly.
By whatever is going on in your brain. And if you want to change something in your chemistry, you can do that by changing the way you think about it.
You absolutely
the way
can.
You speak about it.
But it also creates energy, and some people, they're just complete energy feelers, and they can feel it when it happens. Mm-hmm. They can feel that. Oh, my gosh, did you feel that? And then open that. They're such transmuters. And, you know, it's amazing. They don't feel it the way other people say, well, I knew something changed, but they feel that zap and they can even hear it. So it depends on the frequency you're on. Mm-hmm. But it's absolutely true.
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about earlier, everything's different for everybody. It might be the same thing, but you respond to it a little differently, you tap into it a little differently, and that's okay, yeah?
It may take a little longer for some to come into it, for it to really come into realization, and for other people, they are ready right now. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. The energy, it's hard to explain. I've had people come in, and they're such an energy channel, but they don't know it. And I put my hand on this woman one time, and she looked so sad and so depressed, but she was just emanating energy. And I said, are you all right? Are you going to be okay? And I said, do you know who's here? And I put my hand on her shoulder, and I said her father's name. And she said, how in the world could you know his name? He's been gone for 20 years. And I said, he isn't gone. He's right here with you. He came in the door with you. She was at the spiritual center, and her eyes just, and she started, when she left, she was laughing.
Awesome.
And, yeah, but she could not feel him, but I could. And the other people that had been working there and meditating, they could feel him too. They could. And since she had never experienced anything like that before, her fear was blocking it, but not from us, you see.
Right.
So that was the miracle. Yeah, see? She couldn't block him from us.
Right.
And when I said his name, yeah.
That just kind of opened that door, didn't it? One of the things I've discovered as I've been working as a Reiki master and a reader and all that kind of stuff that I do.
Yes.
Oh, when I need it for me, that's when I can feel it and understand it and see it the least. I have to go to another light worker and say, hey, what's going on? And then they can read for me, and it makes all the sense in the world. I know something's going on, but it's kind of that fish in the fishbowl thing. He doesn't know he's in a bowl because he can't see it. And I find that frustratingly unsettling.
Yes. And I think, again, for you, empowering yourself to know you really can trust your guides to give you everything you need, especially after all the people that you have worked with and helped. Mm-hmm. You have the ability to do all of that on your own, to intuit everything.
Well, I know that. You know, intellectually, I know that. But when I'm in a situation to where I feel like I need guidance, sometimes it's obfuscated because I don't know, because I feel like I need guidance. I'm not sure why, but that just seems to be the way it works.
You know what I think you really need is, all you really need is validation. You're already getting it.
Now that's probably true.
Yes. I really feel that it's a validation that you're seeking and then trusting that more.
Mm-hmm.
As you go about this, and the more you do, you won't need it. You'll feel so empowered in your own validation because you'll take that on and follow through with it and say, hey, that was really true. That really did work. I trusted it.
Well, that's a good point, and I had never thought of that. Thank you.
Yes, and because I'm stubborn, I don't get readings from other people. I'm very stubborn. And the only person that I have ever called is Dr. Elliott in Nashville, and that has been maybe once a year to ask her anything that I am having a question about or seem confused about. I may ask her for clarification on something, and then I'm good. But in other things, I feel so connected and so loved by the guides I have around me that I want to trust that so much that they trust. Yeah, because
sometimes
that empowers me. Yeah, it takes away my anxiety to do that. Yeah.
Well, now, sometimes I don't feel connected. I'll ask them something, and I'm not sure that I've gotten any kind of an answer at all, and I kind of wonder what that's about sometimes. Do you ever run into that?
Well, not anymore. Not since I started doing this on a regular basis.
Uh-huh.
I can say before, yes. But when I started doing this on a regular daily basis and I'm working with it, I find that the energy is always there. Uh-huh. And I live in a high energy place as well. I'm in the forest, I'm in the trees. I have crystals all around here. I think they're underneath. You see? So I always feel really connected. The only times I may feel that I need to lessen that is if I have to go out and, we all have to go out and we have to go shopping and we have to go different places where the energy feels much different than it does where I've created my space.
Right.
So I promise you, but I never feel disconnected anymore. Cool. So I know what you're saying, and I have, and I said, I don't like that feeling,
No, I don't either.
And I don't know. And I think
like
that,
a cat with tape on my feet.
I know. And I think that if you just heighten your frequency and you concentrate on that crown chakra opening up,
mm-hmm.
and you open that up and say, I am fearless and I'm going to trust the validation that I get and just keep carrying this through. I am so grateful. You'll find out a change is coming because they'll bring you a new frequency that you will feel down to your toes.
I don't doubt that for 1 second.
I want you to try that and ask your guides to keep the frequency going with you and to give you answers through the energy. You're an energy worker, so they can pull on a finger, they can pull on a thumb, they can say yes, they can say no in the energy, and then start directing that into your third eye so they don't have to do that anymore. And you see that answer right there, even if they have to write it on a piece of paper in your third eye, and you will get your validation. And you keep practicing that while you're meditating, and you'll have new confidence.
All right. I will start on that as soon as we're finished recording the show. How's that sound?
Listen, you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve to be up on that frequency to trust your guides. They want you to hear them and trust it. They're going to have a party.
Oh, goody. I love parties. Well, we're about at the end of our time, and I would like for you, if you can, to give our listeners a salient point to take with them. If they didn't hear anything else we talked about this hour, what's the one thing you want them to just really drive home?
Just to honor yourself, trust yourself, love yourself first, and be yourself. And if you want the other side to be there with you. All you have to do is ask, be in gratitude, meditate, pray, and understand how many people out here there are to help you. And I can't say enough about being able to share this with everybody. And I'll keep on writing. It's free to read the articles and tap into your guidance, tap into that love that's out there. It's available to everybody. No matter who you are loved unconditionally. And I just want to say thank you. And thank you, Chessie, for asking me to be on your show.
You're certainly
welcome. I am honored.
Before you go, too, I would like for you to discuss real quickly your two books, because I want people to be aware of them, where they can find them and the names of them, and just a touch about what they are about.
Okay. The first book that I put out is just a short book about what happened to me when I started tapping in and channeling energy, and how I started delivering messages and was able to communicate with the other side. And I had started communicating with a friend who had been in an accident and receiving messages and validation. And it's called Friends with Lights, A True Story by psychic medium and healing channel Judi Lynch. And it's Judy with an I. And so what I did from all my writings and my articles, I put into another book called Conscious Ascension. And I also have some stories in there about friends and clients and people I've worked with, and some testimonies from people on how they have felt this love and energy and what it's meant to them. And then I have the other book inside of this one as well, Conscious Ascension. And they're both on Amazon. Okay. And I have a lot of, the articles are about just about anything, from spirit guides to your psychic intuition, just all kinds of things, how we do our soul work, our soul themes while we're here, and forgiveness is the biggest one.
Oh, that's true. That is
so
huge.
I just had to mention that too. When you let that go in forgiveness, it creates its own love and energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like to remind people that forgiveness isn't necessarily for the incident or the person who did the deed. It's more for you and your healing than anything.
Yes, that's very true. And
well, thank you so much for being on the program, Judy. Don't hang up. I want to talk to you after we finish the recording, just a little housekeeping. But I want to thank all of my listeners for joining us today for the show. If you would like to send in a question or a suggestion for a topic that you would like for me to cover on the show, please send your question, your suggestion, or your request to me at Chessie at ChessieRoberts.com. You can find all of my information, my programs, my classes, and all of that at ChessieRoberts.com. My music you can find at ArchersMeadow.com, and my book is on Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon.com and type in my name, and it will pop up. And it, too, is about my awakening and how I got from where I was to where I am now. And it encompasses the Get on the Life Energy Grid, crystal grid that I have, and how it works and why it works. A little bit of science, but not too much. A little bit of metaphysics, not too much. Just a nice little blend just to kind of tune you into what's going on around you. So, again, thank you for joining me. And come back anytime to hear Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts. Have a great week, and bright blessings until I see you again. Bye-bye.